It was great having all those welcome back comments. Thank you so much. Hey everyone, welcome to Keep Shooting Monday, number 102. My name is Greg Cazillo from Cazillo.com. So last week was the first video back in quite some time, and this week I don't have a real long show, but I have some good questions that came up, so make sure you keep on posting those. In case you guys do not know, Adobe Max is coming up this week. They are on the West Coast here in the United States, so you'll be able to watch them in Pacific time. I'm actually scheduled to watch them, and I already done the sign up, all that good stuff. And I noticed this morning on my iPad and on my iPhone that they were updating their apps, both the Lightroom app and the Photoshop app, and some of the other ones like Adobe Clip and what are the other ones that they had on here? I forget. They have a ton of apps if you didn't already know. Lightroom, Line, Creative Cloud, Sketch, Photoshop Mix, Voice. I said Clip, Draw, Comp, Slate, Brush, Connect. Fill and Sign allows you to fill in documents and just sign them right on the iPad. And then, of course, Acrobat. And I don't know what this Anywhere app is. I need to actually look at that and figure out what that is. But it's already on my iPad, so I need to look at it. I think I just downloaded a bunch of them all at once. Anyway, some of the new adjustments, or new changes, I should say, in the Lightroom app. Number one, I love how they changed the display when you have a lot of galleries of images or a lot of collections in here. I think it makes a lot more sense. Before, you would just have one photo right in the center, and that just didn't make sense on the iPad. And maybe you could see like one and a half. You would just have to kind of scroll through to find it. This new display definitely makes a lot more sense when you have a lot of collections. They say that there's some new features. The big features that I noticed, number one, you have some additional editing tools that are in here. You have your tone curve, vignetting, color, black and white, dehaze, and then all the rest of them, your white balance, temperature, tint, tone, exposure, contrast, all the way down the line. Another cool thing that they added finally, which was also a real big pain, is they added the film strip view at the bottom. Before, if you wanted to edit a few photos in succession, you had to go back out to the grid view, more or less, or like the library view, in order to get to a photo. Now at least you can have that film strip view and see all the photos at the bottom, which is a nice addition. Another thing that I noticed so far is you're able to create a collection here on the iPad or on the iPhone, which is nice. I hadn't noticed that before, and so nice to kind of be able to go backwards. There was one more thing that, supposedly it's free. I'm guessing it says the first line in the description, let's see if I can bring that up, was, there it is, free Lightroom, exclamation point. Unleash your creativity with free access to Lightroom for as long as you like on your smartphone or tablet. It does have a little asterisk. Adobe ID sign up is required, so you do have to sign in. I'm sure you'll be able to do that on the app. So I'm guessing that they're making it completely free. You don't have to have a subscription anymore in order to use Lightroom on your mobile device, whether that's Android or iOS. But if you do want to sync the data in between your Lightroom on the computer and, of course, your mobile phone, that kind of thing, or your mobile device, then you will need a subscription because you need to buy the full app, or the full app, on the desktop app. So so far so good. It seems like a definite step in the right direction. A couple things that I have issues with. Number one is it drives me crazy when I have to sign in multiple times. Like, if I don't use the app for a month and I got to sign in again, that just makes zero sense to me. The number one app that everybody uses on iOS and probably on Android too is Facebook. And once you sign in the first time, you never have to sign in again. Why can't everybody else do that? The other app that happens to me all the time are the Microsoft Office apps, because I have an Office 365 subscription. So, Word, PowerPoint, OneDrive, all those apps. If I don't use them for a month, and sometimes you do go a month or 6 weeks, something like that, without using them, you got to sign in again, and it just drives me nuts. If I change the password, fine, then sign in, make me sign in again. But I do not do that, and I don't understand why you're making it more difficult to use the app. Just let me sign in one time and be done with it and store it, and you won't have to worry about it. I was also hoping that they would finally do something with a lot of my Lightroom suggestions or things that I wanted to see. Back about probably 6 or 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, Kathy and I had went over our list of things that we would like to see added to Lightroom, and my number one pet peeve is the backup dialog box. Why can't it just automatically back up and close like QuickBooks does? You can schedule it to automatically back up when you close it. That's one thing that should happen, and I've been doing that in QuickBooks since I bought my first version in, I don't know, 2005 or something like that. So that's not like it's something that can't be done. The other thing is, why isn't there a way to synchronize full catalogs? There should be able to. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to sync a full catalog, have a master and a slave catalog, and just allow them to stay in sync, especially with the Creative Cloud that's already out there and all the syncing capabilities. It should just be able to work, and it would be so much nicer than having to create a catalog on one device, then move it over to, say, you create it on your laptop, then have to move it over to your desktop. The app is on mobile devices is one step in the right direction, but there's still plenty of photographers that still have desktop computers and laptop computers or secondary computers or other people that work for them, or even just photographers that just have a home computer and a work computer or something like that, where they want to be able to synchronize that, and it'd be so much nicer. Or maybe they have, I don't know, there's tons of different instances, but point is, I'm really hoping that in Adobe Max they do something like that, and they finally set it up so that you can synchronize your Lightroom catalog. So I'm crossing my fingers, and I'm also hoping to put up another video or two talking about Adobe Max. And I think most of the keynotes are today and tomorrow, and then they have other things going on the rest of the week on location at the actual event. But I think most of the keynotes are today and tomorrow. So I'll hopefully be able to get some additional videos up talking about those. So I think that is it for today. We're just going to go over some news, but some of that news isn't that great. So let's get into some Cazillion questions. I'll be shooting my first wedding in a few days. Just a question about mealtime. If you are seated with guests, are you snapping pictures throughout the whole meal? And is it mainly the head table or all guests? This brings back some really bad flashbacks of the first photographer I used to work for shooting weddings. They always had us do table shots, and it was something we had to do. And I was shooting a medium format camera, and we would carry a ladder around, we would hop up on the ladder, and then usually there were two of us doing it. I would hop up on the ladder, and then the assistant, whoever it was with me, would go around and stop them from eating, and it was just terrible. So I'm not a fan of table shots at all. If the bride and groom requests them, great, go ahead and do them. Obviously do what the bride and groom wants you to do. But I don't think interfering, at least not in today's day and age, is a good thing. And wasn't good in my opinion 20 years ago, and I don't think it's good now. So I'm not a big fan of table shots. As far as being seated with the guests, yes, I actually put that in my contract that I have to be seated with the guests, because again, from experience, I've had some issues where, I get seated wherever, like in the back of the kitchen or, in a whole nother room somewhere. Something happens, you're going to lose that moment. You're not going to know about it. And plus, you also want to make sure that you're fed the same meal as what everyone else is, because it just looks like you're, I don't know, a second-class citizen when you're seated there with everybody else, and then they bring you out a ham sandwich or something like that. So put that in your contract that you're added as a regular guest, and you'll be much better off. Am I shooting during that? Yeah, I'll shoot a few photos during it. If I see something going on, I'm definitely paying attention. I try to seat myself so that I can kind of watch the rest of the room to see what's going on. So yeah, I'll hop up a couple of times in between there, and I don't have a problem with that because I know that I'm getting paid, and that's my job is to get those. But make sure you put those couple things in your in your contract. Trust me. I always thought Greg looks a little like Ron Perlman. Okay, if you say so. What camera are you shooting with? Right now I have my D3S and a D800, which I'm actually shooting a ton of video with, and I'm loving it.
I have a daughter a little younger than your subject, but I'm struggling a little on deciding which autofocus mode to use in different situations. I'm using a D3200 in aperture priority, normally with a 51.8. For the early shots you showed of the girl on the bridge, I would use AFC due to the potential for movement, but with single point AF and move my focus point around the eyes using a multi-selector. But for my mom and girl walking, the shot where my mom is spinning the girl around, I'm guessing you would need to change dynamic area, try to focus on the area the girl is going to move into.
In a situation like that, I would stick with AFC or the continuous focus. I don't know that I'd be switching a lot. If I had trouble focusing, say, on a piece of clothing, something like that, then I would probably switch that point over to the dynamic area where it would basically take that single spot and then have use the dots around it, or the points around it, in order to have a better lock. Usually that only happens with like solid clothing, that kind of thing. But when that photo where she was spinning her around, that's an easy shot. You don't really need to guess where you're at. You might need to adjust your aperture a little bit if you want to go to f4 or something like that, maybe 5.6. Or you just stick with the same aperture right where you're at say at 1.8 or 2.8, depending upon your lens, and just wait for her to swing around to a certain spot so that you know that your depth of field is going to catch her in focus. It's one of those things that's kind of trial and error, and just kind of know what to do with it. But I would just try it out and see what you think. I don't really switch around in between the single and the continuous focus a lot, and the same with the dynamic versus a single point focus. I just kind of tend to stick with that one mode, and that's it. I choose it in the beginning, and that's it. But if I do find myself with kids, they're moving a lot, then I'll definitely switch to that continuous mode. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, of course, ask some more. So I think that's it for today's show. I'll get this posted soon. Hopefully get some more of those Adobe Max videos and let you know what's going on with that this week. And I think that's it. Thanks, guys. Keep shooting.